I apologize for the delay. Thank you for your patience.
Let's start with questions.
Yeah.
Scott. Reaching the semis. When did you realise that Lorenzo was struggling, or was there a time when you saw that he was hampered by his injury?
Honestly, the first time I saw him struggling a bit was in the third game of the third set when I broke his serve. But I've spoken to some of the members of his team that are my former agent, Eduardo, and he told me that he complained already at the beginning of the second. But I didn't feel that in the second set he was affecting his game much, but probably gotten worse, and yeah, that's what happened.
Just obviously, whoever you play in the semi-final, it's going to be very exciting. Just to explain for us what it is that makes first Jannik and then Ben so dangerous, and what you need to do from your side of the net to counter those dangers.
Well, I played Ben only once in semis of US Open years ago, so hopefully, if we get a chance to play, we can have a good match. I mean, if I play Jannik, I lost to him, I think 4 or 5 in a row. So yeah, he's just playing on such a high level right now, along with Carlos, the 2 best players in the world. So absolute favorite, but you never know. And hopefully I can deliver my A game for that matchup, because that's what's going to be needed at least to have a chance. I wasn't playing close to my best today, so I'm going to have to change that around.
Medical timeout today. Are you able to just update us on your physical condition, but also illustrate just the physical demands on the body playing at this level? Because I don't think people at home necessarily appreciate it.
Well, I had a blister that needed to be looked at and retaped. That's what I did last match, and now that's the biggest of my concerns, to be honest. I don't have any other major issues. I mean, you always have some minor issues with your body. I mean, at least for me, every single day, but major issues, no. So thankfully that's still not posing a challenge for me and an obstacle in order for me to be able to play and move around the way I want to. Yeah, it is a very physical game. I mean, it's an individual sport, so I think today's example with Musetti is really clearly showing how challenging this sport is. He was a better player on the court. He was close to win it. He was in the control, and then obviously something happens, and if you're part of the team sports, then maybe you go out and somebody substitutes you for a set, and then you attend to your physical issue and maybe get a better chance to close out the match. But that's not possible, in our sport, and that's the beauty of the tennis as an individual sport, but also a huge challenge. So you always have to be at your best, and particularly at this final stages of a Grand Slam. We all put in the hours. We all try to work hard, but sometimes things like this happen in the heat of the battle, where you are straining your body and taking the body to the fullest of the limits. Emotions play a big part. Obviously, you tense up, so you're not moving as fluidly as you are maybe in practice sessions, and then there is a high risk of injury, which is what happened to me, to be honest, several times last year at the Slam. So I know exactly the feeling, and it's horrible, particularly when you're feeling you're playing very well, like he was, and you can't perform the way you want to, and it's just your body is not letting you, and that's a hard one to swallow, but that's the sport we are in.
Usually when you reach the last stages of the Grand Slam, this is where your game is really peaking, and you've been used to that many years. I'm just wondering if the confidence is still there that it's going to happen again, or if a match like today makes you think, okay, maybe that's the last gear? No.
Well, I mean, I don't want to take out anything from Musetti's variety that he put in and the quality of tennis he put in today was great for sure. But I think I've underperformed for the level that I showed throughout this tournament up to today. So, yeah, I have to play better. I mean, no doubt about it. And I know that if I'm feeling well and body's holding on and I'm playing well, then I mean I always have a chance, you know. And it's semifinals of a Grand Slam, so in terms of level of confidence and motivation, I mean, of course it's always there. I mean, it must be. Otherwise, you know, what's the point of competing? So I've been in this situation many times in my career, and obviously 4 times last year. I'm glad to repeat the best Grand Slam result from last year, which is reaching the semis. You know, I know that it's only going to get tougher from here, but I have to be ready for it now. I mean, I cannot predict the result or whether I'm going to play well or not, but I'm definitely going to give my best.
Congratulations. We've seen quite a lot of walkovers and retirements in this tournament. Do you feel like this is just an anomaly in this particular tournament? It's been very hot, the weather, or is there a sense the schedule isn't allowing enough recovery time for a lot of players? We know that the tennis schedule can be really brutal.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of talk on the schedule, and it's the beginning of the season, so from one point of view, you'd say, well, the players, you know, rested and trained and got themselves into a good state, physical, emotional, mental game state to perform well, you know, and have no reason for an injury. But it's a kind of a two-edged sword, to be honest, because the off season is the only time of the year when you can really push yourself physically, but also, you know, mentally and emotionally on the court in terms of, you know, tweaking certain things about your game and improving and, you know, trying to put more effort than normally you would during the season. So that also requires a lot of energy and effort, and that, you know, puts an additional strain on the player. So if you see things from that perspective, it's also kind of understandable. And also, you know, the fact that you haven't played for most of the players on a competitive tournament, an official tournament, for maybe a month and a half or 2 months, and, you know, coming into new season, obviously body is behaving differently when you're playing official match than playing practice sets. So so that's one of the factors as well that I feel like is influencing the walkovers or the injury issues that we've been seeing. And myself, I mean, haven't had any big major injuries in Australia in the for first part of my career, but then the last 5-6 years I've had pretty much every year an issue. You know, in my case, it might be the age, it might be certain other things a bit different, but again, you are fresh in a certain way and motivated, but then the body is also shocked in a way when you start a season and you're like, you know, I'm going to do more than I normally would because it's just the beginning of the season. I want to do well. So that can create, you know, physical issues.
Last two, Ben and Sam.
Several of the women players who've played in the last day or so have been talking about their frustrations with the cameras that are set up in the behind-the-scenes areas of the Australian Open and the corridors, and showing moments they think are private, just sort of feeling invasive there. And I know I asked you about this when they first introduced these cameras like 7 years ago, and you said it's sort of the Big Brother world we're living in now. But I'm curious what you think of this continuing sort of trying to turn the tournament into a reality show in some ways on TV, and then also if the players and their anger at this can ever be listened to by a tournament, because the women were saying sort of they didn't feel like there was anything they could do in terms of making a change from there.
Yeah, so I mean, with what happened with Coco and her after her match, and look, I empathize with her. I mean, I know what it feels like to break a record, and I've done it a few times in my career. So I know how it is to be frustrated, particularly after a match where you underperform. And I agree with her. It's really sad that you can't basically move away anywhere and hide and what do you call that? Fume out your frustration, your anger in a way that won't be captured by a camera. But we live in a society and in times where content is everything. So it's a deeper discussion. I guess I really, it's really hard for me to see the trend changing in the opposite direction, meaning we take out cameras. I mean, if you see it's only going, or it's only going to be as it is, or even more cameras. I mean, I'm surprised that we don't have no cameras while we're taking shower. I mean, that's probably the next step. I'm against it. I mean, I think there should be always a limit and kind of a borderline where, okay, this is our space, but people, commercially, there's always a demand, how players warm up, what do they say when they speak to their coaches, and what's their cool down, and they want to see us arriving in the car and walking through corridors, and so yeah, you got to be careful. I mean, in a sense, because I'm on the tour for quite a bit, so I remember the time when we didn't have so many cameras, and now and then that transition of really getting used to having an eye that you don't hear and may sometimes forget about always on you is frightening, because at times like you want to relax and maybe, I don't know, be yourself in a sense that you don't want public to see, but it's really hard for me to see that that's going backwards. It's just something that I guess we have to accept.
Last one, Sam. When you first, in the early part of your career, when you were chasing Roger and Rafa for titles, and now at the back end of your career, you're chasing Jannik and Carlos. Is it?
I'm chasing Jannik and Carlos. In which sense?
In terms of winning Grand Slam titles, just right now.
So I'm always the chaser, and I'm never being chased.
In the meantime, you won 24 Grand Slams. But I'm saying
Thanks. It's worth saying that sometimes, right?
Sorry, I should have.
Yeah. No worries.
So what I'm saying is it possible to compare the way you felt initially when you were chasing Roger and Rafa with now when Jannik and Carlos have split the last 8 slams?
Well, I find it a little bit disrespectful that you kind of miss out on what happened in between, where the times when I started chasing, as you say, Rafa and Roger, and now that I'm chasing Carlos and Jannik, and there's probably about 15-year period in between where I was dominating the Grand Slams. So I think it's important to put that in prospect and in perspective. I don't feel like I'm chasing, to be honest. Roger and Rafa will always be my greatest rivals. I have tremendous respect for what Jannik and Carlos are doing, and they continue to do, and they will do for the next 10 to 15, 20 years. God knows how many years they're going to play. They're so young. And this is a kind of a natural cycle in sports. You're going to have another 2 superstars that are going to maybe have another third guy, that I'm going to cheer for, because I've always been the third guy at the beginning. But it's good for our sport. I think these kind of rivalries and the contrast of the personalities and the styles of play are very good for tennis. And how's that affecting me? As I said, I don't feel like I'm chasing. I'm creating my own history. And I think, I've been very clear when I say that my intention is always to, in terms of achievements and objectives and results, I want to get to the championship match in every tournament, particularly slams. And those slams are one of the biggest reasons why I keep on competing and playing tennis. So yeah, I mean, that's all I can say. I mean, are they better right now than me and and all other guys? Yes, they are. I mean, the quality and the level is amazing. It's great. It's phenomenal. But does that mean that I walk out with the white flag? No. I mean, I'm going to fight till the last shot, till the last point, and do my very best to challenge them.
Thank you.
Thanks.